Happiness is always the greatest desire of humans. It depends on each person's understanding in each society and each era. Happiness is conceptualized differently. People who constantly encounter obstacles assert that there is no happiness in this world. As for young people, they keep dreaming that happiness must be wonderful and believe that it is just at the end of their path. Countless generations of people have gone through most of their lives still chasing happiness like a game of hide and seek. Sometimes when they catch it, it disappears, and sometimes when they think they are empty-handed, it suddenly returns. A king wanted to write down a quote on his sword to not be too happy when he wins and not too sad when he loses. This king found out that his mind gets too obsessed when he wins and too obsessed when he loses. So he gave this job to his mentor. The mentor thought for a while and simply wrote down these amazing 4 words on his sword: "This too shall pass." I'll repeat it again: "This too shall pass." When we live in this world, there are worldly conditions that we have to experience. The Buddha named these worldly conditions as the 8 worldly conditions. The Buddha explains that the whole world revolves around these 8 worldly conditions, and the 8 worldly conditions revolve around this world. What are these 8 worldly conditions? The Buddha explains that gain and loss is a worldly condition, praise and blame is a worldly condition, fame and disgrace is a worldly condition, and pleasure and pain is a worldly condition. These are the worldly conditions that we go through and experience in all of our lives. The problem is not having to go through these worldly conditions. The problem is that our minds get too obsessed with these worldly conditions. When we win, our minds get too attached to it, and we forget that this victory won't last forever. When we lose, our minds get too obsessed with that defeat, and we think that this defeat, this sadness, this suffering will last forever. But in reality, all good things come to an end, and all bad things come to an end. Nothing lasts forever. So how can we live without being attached to winning and losing, and without being attached to any of these worldly conditions? The Buddha shows us the way to not be attached to any of these things. The way to do that is to simply understand the nature of all these conditions. What is the nature? The nature of all worldly conditions is that they are subject to change. When you win, it is subject to change. When you lose, it is subject to change. It is impermanent. Simply remind yourself that this too shall pass. When you hit rock bottom, when you go through problems, when you go through difficulties in your life, just remember that this too shall pass. This pain, this suffering too shall pass. And when you win, when you're happy, when everyone cheers for you, always remember that this is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. There is one of my favorite quotes that I've read recently. It says, "When you win, you are not as good as you think you are, and when you lose, you are not as bad as you think you are." When you win, everyone will cheer for you, everyone will congratulate you, and everyone will say good things about you. But always remember, you are a human, you are imperfect, and everything is subject to change. This does not mean that you should not enjoy winning or victory. You can enjoy victory, you can be happy about it, but simply understand that this winning, this victory, won't last forever. And when you lose, you have to remember that you are not as bad as you think you are. You can learn from your mistakes, you can learn from your failures, and you can always improve yourself. Always think that this is not going to last forever. This pain is not going to last forever. By simply understanding that everything is subject to change, nothing is permanent, you will help yourself achieve a happier and more fulfilling life by not being attached to any of these extremes. When you win, do not be too attached to it, and when you lose, do not be too attached to it. Then you will be happy. Thank you for listening.